An interesting topic that a lot of people are starting to talk about is how is it possible that one person can have a level of wild stupidity? Sometimes people get nervous when they just see anything. I saw a blind person skateboard once, and I said, "You're not skateboarding, get them in yoki." Irony was at that time what everybody was saying. COVID. I was like, Krishna. More than ever. Funny thing was, time started past Cali. What about that ball track? Gravity is your new best friend. Your dog, pretty low to it. You got one of those hot dog looking ones? Guess who picked it up, turned into a cartoon character, and said, "You want me to eat this thing?" And then had to go Sailor Moon with the cat, saying, "Don't eat it! Don't eat the thingy." But now they got like a hedgehog eating thingies that look like hot dogs. And I'll say, no, it could actually be the theory of gravity. Because a lot of people get cold in the winter on the peak of a mountain, but still may want to turn on their air conditioning, talk alphabet, and not think for a moment Krishna's really breathing, saying, okay, you haven't been outside in a long time. You thought I didn't exist about 19 times. Pikachu, can it chew? Can you chew gum? Can you chew gum? Can it chew? With chew, you chew, you chew, I choose. I don't know. I breathe in. Bought a skateboard, someone might say, and you might say, I actually just sit and doing Yogi Krishna consciousness and exploring all the beautiful heavenly planets that this will guide me as this once was connected to what someone who said that now the uh, telecommunication towers are actually like beacons of energy for mycelium network, blah 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 blahs. They'll say, actually, hold up. Yes, that's actually happening. We asked ChatGPT. Whoa. Wow. What are we gonna do now? You wanna like go to New Orleans or where is he? Is he a witch? Like, no, that's sick English. There's so many places my boys traveled to. I saw the most beautiful gathering. Yet I was looking at it at a portal screen where all these beautiful pyramids are just glowing. It's like harmony in the stars, looking like a glittery star. And then I was thinking, someone here in the United States of America could be really jealous and say, I don't get anything like that here. All we got is homeless people pissing on trees and they'll speak sick English. And I was like, guess what? I know I'm no prisoner. But this one time, someone wanted to swing a wine bottle on my head. And I said, you're no prisoner because what you're holding is your prison. I could dodge that prison bullet because in the Krishna consciousness, it's what Arjuna saw, and that's what I saw during the time where they were like, aliens are coming down from Earth. Saw it on my phone. Slaughtering a cow. Driving what could actually be a dirt to dirt. It is. And then I'm like, guys, this used to be a forest where possibly a jaguar could have existed. Then it existed. Turned out it had really great teeth. They called it chrome. And then I was like, huh. Then they made me, I guess, release that in the wild in Fort Collins. No, it's called Collect a Group of People Who Are a Bunch of Assholes. You don't like putting your mouth on the exhaust pipe of a jaguar? That's because a jaguar will have something that a human would know. It could be an asshole, but a machine. I saw tell a person with a person driving it, you like gas? This food is gas. Then I had to look at a license plate. Like conscious was moving in ways where the Krishna conscious was like, this is the duality of you seeing. Wouldn't it be interesting where you just have a bunch of people holding magical object, personal belonging, like a car. Give someone your keys to your car and say, hey, you can just sit in it and do whatever. Put your feet on it. Hey, go smoke a cigarette next to an oil rig. And then somehow compose the system to favor you, put someone in a prison. I'm like, Krishna taught me before people were like, I saw on television the World Trade Center fell down. When I was sitting in my classroom, I was like, okay, I saw on television Goku was able to stand on Jehovah and looked like the monkey on top of the Sri Krishna Magnificata Cherry System. Having a great time. Great song was playing. And it reminds me of the time of the Song of Names, when God gives names. Your Godhead self from the past slavery self. Because some people were so poisoned and you're like, oh, you can't have God. I'm like, okay, so you have a 3-story building. Do you know that a lot of people fall from that? Okay, so that's gravity, and I was able to tell you a lot in under 10 minutes. Past already 9 Krishna Krishna 11, and now you're like, okay, he might have a point. I was watching Judge Judy, and all I ever felt like my relationship was some outside judge just telling me, you know what, at some point I'm not coming to your Thanksgiving anymore. But then that's just because during the entire last video, the television was off. You're like, wait a minute, but I saw this on television. I'm like, no, that was your phone that you called it. Maybe 10 years ago, you might have said, like, there's a difference. Maybe 20 years ago, you might have said, there's a difference. Maybe 40 years ago, you're going to say, what? I have, how? Okay, I had to click this button, and then it went, ah, damn it, I don't think it works anymore. Okay, I'm going to go back to sitting outside, talking to the tree, and knowing that that's the real way. It says that one day it could fly. I live an infinite life. I have a lot of time on my hands, and I remember how I got here. Oh, great person was born near this exact artistic value of numbers. Now, Krishna. I could say if the atheist world was like, life's getting boring, but you know what? Magic is English. But we can't put a dot underneath our letters. We only could do that for I. It wasn't until someone was like, one day they're going to say it wasn't about the air conditioner getting pulled out from the second story where he fell out the attic that had anything to do with that being the reason why he is that gifted, that he could fly through time. It's because people who said, you know what, they're never even going to build us a house. In time, it is hot. We got to keep just to the level of just Godhead. I don't know any person in this library who could have any sort of appearance. You could have a goofy Spider-Man costume nowadays I see on portals. I could say, who could really care at this point except the judge of ignorance? Once you discover that judge, you're like, you're fired. Okay. However it is in that inner conscious temple, this is where the forgiveness comes through. This is where I'm breathing again. I'm not dead. I could drop whatever thing could have killed me, whatever I was planning on just going for a mindless drive I was planning on just maybe doing stupid in English. I don't say, guess what? I'm speaking natural conversation, and the best part is because it took a lot of time away from English. I was like, well, I gotta breathe, and I'm not gonna be cursing as I'm standing on this tree. I'm just gonna breathe. Push. Breathe and push. That's what my mother did. And you know what? My mother, being this heavenly lotus galaxy, these planets look pretty big. You know what? These new things you see on these portal screens, and I'm like, you know what? Back in the day, they were giving us these things that look like Tamagotchis. They called it a Tamagotchi. I only call it a Tamagotchi because things that had the little black dots that were Krishna, 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 and everything else. But then the Krishna said, I'm hungry. Guess what I'm saying now? That keychain and wherever that thing said, I'm hungry, said, guess what? If you could believe this and you're hungry, I can beat that demon away for that second, maybe how long it took for the Tamagotchi to get there. They didn't make Tamagotchis anymore. But guess what? Then a Pokeball showed up and was like, I got you. You gotta feed Pikachu or you gotta just put it next to a cell phone tower? And I see people walking with their phones and I'm like, are you lost? Are you trying to find somebody? Are you like bored? Children are asking me at the Godhead level and you would start being insecure. I remember the live projection of that at the most heaviest. Then Krishna said, that was how bad they treated me in the human form. We all heal in a way. You gotta remember to breathe and start kick pushing. Maybe say to that cell phone, stop worrying about that, or a pebble's gonna knock you back down again. And that's how nature calls. Sometimes I think to like good old Jim Krishna and Carrie. I say Krishna because he played so many amazing Krishna conscious people in my life. One of them, I cried the first 10, 15 seconds of it. It was like him and his companion, and they were just trying to get across to another mountain, I guess, and then they fell. I say they fell because he died too. All that sweat. And that's what Krishna taught me. I was like, I'm not going to spit on the ground, that's like how I come back. And then I have to. I have to come back. I have to go back to the spot. And it's because that's how detached we became from our world. When you start living a life without a cell phone for at least a day, you start saying, oh man, I'm like having anxiety, as you would call it. But I was like, the thing that was taking your energy, that is pushing it. But if I say, hey, X-Men, as Krishna, ex-Krishna men, now you can see that you are the mutant. Oh boy, do you want to keep holding that thing? Boy, because my boy life, as they called it, I'm like, guys, I fell out of the attic. I survived all the things that boys die from, men die from, every being, even a bird, a squirrel. I had to resurrect a grieving squirrel mother from what an English spit on the ground might have convinced the squirrel for a panic moment. Then an om and saying, I'm giving the best that I could deliver with the speaker and this amazing gift of an instrument that you may say, but it has multi-Krishna, di-Krishna intentional mentioning of everything I got in the present of whomever could break away from a bad trance. Silence can be deadly. Inner silence in a world polluted is bliss. However, no one could talk about it because the very nature of I see. Well, I'm just trying to find music, as they say. You know, here I am, on Busker, Krishna Siyam, telling you from the in Krishna, from Krishna, Krishna He, Spirit Krishna He, Krishna He, the Krishna still is Krishna Siyam, Spirit Krishna He, Krishna. the end of days when Atlas was told to me by Krishna, I was like, you're schizophrenic. They like to keep track of time. And my great person who I said, guess what? In this place that is under God, whether we could be under a tree that's under God, they'll say, look at these people under a tree. What's more of a representation of that? Then I'll say, why don't you see that? You say it's from a tree at your house. You don't see it? All right. But then one day there's going to be houses that are made not out of trees. And I'm going to say, guess what? Everything underneath, everything above, everything. I see fishermen fishing in an area where children just want to meditate. And as a spiritual master of Reiki energy, I am blissfully happy about my Krishna barrier conscious of protection and healing. Meanwhile, the duality shows me the ignorance. And why on a portal screen or in person you might say someone died or something weird happened, a glitch. What just happened? Well, in Buddhism, you might be just experiencing bodhisattva, tathagatas, all these different things. Or you might just be someone who proudly say that they were something of non-higher power nature, having a finite lifestyle. I saw a man wanting to go to a Mexican restaurant in New Jersey, and on the camera footage there was Spirit with a bald head, and he was with his, I guess, family. Turns out he married that person over there to the left and to the right and everywhere, because Krishna conscious was everything. But one person who didn't even want to represent in the right way the corn, that was like, I never looked this way. I'm a pretty big flat corn. You don't want to acknowledge amen or prayer or anything? Okay. You don't believe in calcium, I guess. Chomp. Dead. I ate all my nachos. I was like, can I have some more? Because the truth is, I don't believe in death. I really don't. I think people could be the greatest actors in the world. I would say, you know what? Somebody really couldn't take it in the kitchen, and that nacho kicked them in the tooth. Okay, guys, this person's gonna go for a joyride. Maybe they're gonna see the future and realize it was the funniest moment. They come back to life because the heart is what needs of laughter and medicine. And sometimes during Halloween, people get really creeped out about things, and we're like, they'll be like, "Oh my god, like what the hell is happening in life? People are walking around with masks trying to be weird, or are we in a civil war in America without Christian, without God, without even people saying, I don't care if Jesus Christ is the brother of Satan. At least that person believes in God."
Just be mindful you are in the designated quiet area.
Okay.
So folks who might want quiet.
Okay.
Might be a little bit upset with you.
Sorry about that.
Just as a heads up.
Go figure. But guess what, Democrats? Spell it. And then say hi to Christian.